is your host, Benjamin Saxton, and welcome to a Fighter's Chance podcast, where we give people in the combat sports world an opportunity to talk about the things worth fighting for. All right, so today's guest is he's a father and husband. He is a two-time Golden Glove winner, professional mixed martial artist in the UFC, two-time Performance of the Night winner. He is the number 11th ranked heavyweight in the UFC, heavyweight contender, Walt the Big Ticket Harris. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well, man. A little tired. Just got done training, so but I'm good.
Good. Are you doing 1 a days, 2 a days for training, or
We're doing 3 a days actually.
3 a days? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, there's not much off time in that. You got that fight coming up. But today, I want to start out talking a little bit about your history of being a college athlete. You played basketball at, I think, Jacksonville State. So how you transitioned from, a basketball player, and you were, I think, at one point driving for UPS and a mover. So how you kind of transitioned from that to mixed martial arts, and then we'll kind of just go from there.
Okay. I mean, I started out. I mean, I've been an athlete my whole life. I had this dream of playing in the NBA as a kid. I mean, it was just something that you couldn't have told me that I wouldn't be doing. I just worked so hard at basketball. It came naturally to me. It's kind of something my family did. My uncles played, my cousins, my brother played. So like, it was just kind of like the natural thing for me to do. And I mean, I was really, really good at basketball. I was all state. I went to college on a full scholarship. Won Player of the Year in college. I just felt like that was just my path to be a professional basketball player. But I didn't know I didn't know as much as I know now. Had I known what I know now, I would have taken, I thought it was NBA or bust, to be honest.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like once I saw those dreams kind of dwindle for the NBA, I just kind of lost hope. And I went into a 2-year period where I didn't do anything. I just kind of, honestly, I was going down the wrong road. I had my son, Asa, and I just started to realize like I'm, losing grips with reality in life, and I need to just kind of get back in the gym. So it's crazy. I started going to a Gold's Gym here in town, and I just wanted to get back in shape. I had got up to like 300 pounds.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what? I need to just get back in shape. So I started running. I started doing everything that I was trained to do, up to that point. And I shedded all the weight. I got down to about 235, and a lady came up to me in the gym, and she was like, an older lady too. It was crazy. She's like, "Hey, have you ever fought?" And I was like, it's kind of random, like I'm on the weight bench. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you talking to me about fighting? And then she introduced me to my first coach.
Okay.
And so we started doing like mitts and stuff in the racquetball room on Saturdays. And I just fell in love with like punching, and I loved boxing already. And so he was like, let's fight. Let's take a fight. So I thought he meant like an amateur fight with headgear and big gloves. And he was like, no, like an MMA fight. And I was like, dude, you're crazy. Like, no, I'm not doing that. He's like, dude, trust me, you'll be good. And so I did it. I think it was like my first fight was here in Alabama. So it wasn't sanctioned. It was all basically pro rules. We could elbow, we could throw knees. There was no shin guards. It was crazy. And I ended up beating one of his old training partners in like 40 seconds.
Okay.
And he was like, I told you, if you focus on this, you can go far. So I just ran with it from there. And it just was a need to quench that athletic fire. Like I just felt like I still had that passion to play something or do something. So I just ran with it, man. And it just kind of led me to where I'm at today.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty wild, going from like no fighting. Well, I mean, boxing, but other than really no MMA experience to just going straight into the octagon or ring.
Yeah, man. I mean, I didn't have boxing experience either. I just feel like I think I was always a quick learner. So like I could adapt to, I think, anything athletically, and that kind of helped me out a lot, especially early in my career, because I was just more athletic than the guys I was fighting. And I would just overwhelm them, and it just was like, oh, this dude's different. So it just kind of helped me propel, and it made me stand out, and it got me a lot of attention. So I just kind of kept running with that, and accenting those things, and then developing the rest of my game along the way.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, that's pretty wild. And then you kind of start taking some professional fights, and you get the call to the UFC, right? I'm sure that was ecstatic.
Yeah.
That
That was the
was
greatest day of my life, honestly.
so. I'm interested in this regard, because you get the greatest call, the best day of your life, and then you go 0-2, right? You start
Yeah.
0-2 in the UFC. They cut you, and I mean, for some people, that might have been it, right? You're like, oh, I
Yeah.
made it. It didn't go my way,
Yeah.
but then you kind of turned it around. So maybe you can talk a little bit about that experience of going from those highs to all of a sudden now it's out of your grasp.
Yeah, man. It was a rough point in my life because before I signed with the UFC, there was literally a year I didn't have a fight.
Okay.
And I was about to quit fighting. It's crazy. Like I'm gonna write a book when I'm done. Just to kind of to set it up. So what happened was, I remember vividly, I had gone through a period where I was 7-1 before I signed with the UFC, and I was smoking everybody. I had just beat like the number one prospect in the world in Vegas, Anthony Hamilton. He was about to sign with the UFC. He was like 14-1. He was training at Albuquerque with John Jones, and he was a huge prospect. I smoked him in a minute. So like that, my star took off.
Yeah.
And then it got harder to get fights. And so I went through management changes, all kind of things that was going on in that year after that fight. And I was stressed out because I just could not pay bills, and like my wife was stressed out, my kids needed things, and I was just like, man, this ain't it, So literally, I'll never forget this. My Charles McCarthy, one of my close friends, was my manager at the time. I called him in tears, and I was like, bro, I gotta stop this. Like, you've been telling me for close to a year and a half that I'm almost in the UFC, and it's not happening, bro. And like, I gotta feed my family. So like, I think I need to do something different. I don't know if I want to fight anymore. And he just told me straight up, he was like, bro, I'm not going to tell you what to do because you're a grown man. He's like, but I promise you, you're so close. And I had been hearing that you got to think about it, for literally a year and a half, from every manager, I was with First Round Management. I was with all these like big time managers, and like they were saying all the same things. So I felt like I was being strung along. Oh. And I just told him, I said, man, you know what? I think I'm done. And I kid you not, that was on a Saturday. That Sunday, I got a call and I was in the UFC. Like the next day. It blew my mind. And I remember running through the neighborhood screaming, like me and my brother going crazy. Like, we were so excited. And then you go from being this hot prospect, like everybody like clamoring for you, to it's time to go into the big show and perform. You're supposed to win these fights. Like, I remember my second loss. This was devastating. I was a 4-1 favorite in Vegas. Like, I was supposed to smoke Krylov. Like, everybody picked me to just destroy him. And he clipped me in the first 20 seconds of the fight. And I just remember being just devastated, man, like depressed. I told my coach in the doctor's bay after the fight, I'm done. I was like, I'm not good enough. I thought I was, but I'm just done with it. And then I remember taking a little time off, battling my whole, like, should I not? And I remember my manager, Charles, called me and he said, look, man, they just want you to go win a couple fights. So I went down to Florida. I actually moved down there for a couple months, and I just focused on training. I moved in with my best friend, Charles Rosa. And that was like the turning point for me, because he taught me how to train. He taught me how to focus and how to really be a professional athlete. And I went and fought one fight. I fought DJ Lindemann for Titan.
Yep.
And I got the call back to the UFC, and I've been in ever since.
So how many years was that from that moment where you thought you weren't good enough to taking that first amateur fight or professional fight? Was that like 4 years?
Yeah. So I think I was like probably about 4 years, I think, before I signed with the UFC.
That's really not even that much time to begin with.
Actually, it was like more like 3 years.
Okay. Yeah. So even less time.
Yeah.
To train and.
Yeah, my learning curve was pretty steep. I've been learning on the fly. I think that's what I'm grateful to the UFC for. They saw that I had the talent and the potential and the ability, and I needed to grow. They knew they threw me in the fire kind of early, and I was kind of raw. And they give me every opportunity to like prove myself and gain the confidence and things that I need. So I'm grateful to them for that.
So one thing I love about your fights, and I'm sure a lot of other fans too, is it's exciting, man. You go for broke. All your wins have been knockout. I mean, most your losses have been by finishes too. It rarely ever goes to the judges' decisions too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always a very exciting time when you step into the octagon.
Yeah, man. That's, I just look at it like, man, that's what people are paying to see, bro. Like, they don't want to see two big guys rolling around and sweating and huffing and puffing on each other. Like, they want to see people trying to win and bring it, and that's what I've always prided myself on, being exciting and just trying to entertain the fans.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly do. You certainly do that when it comes to your fights. So you've kind of faced that little adversity where you thought it wasn't going to happen, and then now you've been in the UFC for quite some time, having really good success. You're top 15 ranked. You have an opponent coming up that's in the top 10, which that's another big test for you. I know you just fought Alistair Overeem. That didn't go your way, but there was a lot of things going on outside of mixed martial arts with your stepdaughter passing away tragically. Obviously, I don't think anybody holds your performance, let alone even getting into the octagon with a lot of that going on, is commendable. How are you doing? I don't want to go too deep into it, but how are you doing, and how are you and your family handling things?
It's every day is different. It's tough. Like, I had a rough morning. It just varies. Some days I'm, happy and I'm pushing through, but then, there's just moments when I'm by myself where I reflect and, it's hard. But as a whole, we're trying to stay grounded and keep, together. I had a small cookout and had my nieces and my sister and my brother-in-law come over yesterday because I just needed, that connection with my family. I'm a real big family-oriented person. And, it's been tough to be quarantined, you know what I mean? Because it's been really, really hard. But we're making it, man. We're just holding each other up and we're staying prayerful and trying to stay busy. That's the thing. I think being busy is good for everybody, myself, my wife, and, the kids. So we're just staying prayerful and staying focused on keeping her name out there and keeping her name, in the forefront of everybody's mind.
And that's still going on, right? Like,
yeah. The case is still, and like I said, COVID has messed everything up, bro. It's pushed the case back. It's pushed, the investigation kind of halted a tiny bit. The proceedings, we just had a proceeding like a few months ago. He's not getting out, which is a blessing. So we know for sure that he's in, he ain't going nowhere till we can get this thing settled up. It's been a whirlwind, bro. Honestly, the last night, I was telling my wife just the other day, it is literally about to be a year. Like, the night I fight, it'll be the day after she actually went missing. And it's crazy to me. It's been a year, it's just time has really kind of flown by, and it seems sometimes like it's moving too slow. It's weird. It's just a weird time, man. It's just, I've been just trying to stay positive and, be there for my family and do what I need to do to make sure everybody's all right. So,
well, I mean, and I think too, with it always looming and still dragging on, it doesn't really allow you time to, I mean, you grieve, but you can't, it's hard to get over, handle that, right? It's just it's always a reminder.
It's always there, bro. You hit it right on the head.
And you can't focus on just the positives. You just got to keep being brought into what, this tragedy and everything.
Exactly. And it just, you hit it right on the head, bro. That's exactly what it is. It's like there's no closure yet.
Right.
It's just constant. It's the waiting. It's the, different things that you have to go through. People coming by and, it's just a lot. It's something new to my entire family. My wife has lost a child before this, but not at this magnitude. I think when he passed, he was 3. It was tragic as well. But it's just, as a father, it's harder because it's like my job is to make everybody, protect everybody and make sure everybody's okay and fix everything. And this I cannot fix, right. So that's the hard part for me. But I got a great wife. She's the strongest woman I have ever met in my life. Like, my mom is strong on a level that I saw all my life, but my wife is something special. And without her, I don't know if without each other, I don't think we can make it through this. We were kind of talking about that this morning. Like, we got to be there for each other. She has her day. I'm there for her, let her vent, let her feel how she wants to feel, because it's crazy, because to the world, it looks like we're okay and we're handling it, but behind closed doors is a lot different,
Oh, absolutely.
And I want to just scream and yell, but you got to be strong, because I know that what the blessing of my faith is God showed me that this trial is going to help someone else and save other people. And so I have to navigate it with that mindset of, people are watching, and you got to be mindful of how you lead. You're a leader now, as bad as it is, as hard as it is, as much as I don't want to, I'd rather my daughter be here, and not have to deal with this. But I know at this time, I got to be strong for not just my family, but for other people who look to me, my community, and they've helped me. That's the thing. I live I feel like the greatest slice of America. I have to be honest. Like, Homewood is something special, man. And like, the people here have just rallied around my family. They've always had our back, but the way they stepped up for us has just been phenomenal. So that kind of helps me keep going too, knowing that I got these people pushing and pulling for me. So that's just,
I mean, I think it would be understandable for all different types of emotions, whether it's sad, anger. You're a professional fighter where you train day in and day out. That's what you do. But have you found that has helped with, dealing with it, or have you found different avenues where you're like, maybe it's spiritually or other things to help deal with that too?
It's a little bit of all of those. My gym, my team, bro, like, they've been solid, man. It's crazy. They're amazing. My coach, Coach Chris, is a gangster, man. I love that dude so much, man. Like, I'm getting teary-eyed talking about it, but they're my family, man. Those are my brothers and my sisters. They've been there since day one. Coach Chris was on the ground, like, putting together search teams and drawing up strategies, and because he's a Marine, so he knew exactly how to attack it. He helped keep me calm, keep me sane, and I'm forever grateful to him and everybody. That our gym has just been phenomenal. So training is definitely helped keep my mind occupied. Like I said, staying busy, getting those endorphins going, and seeing myself get better and grow, and just having my team to kind of take my mind off of things and kind of place my mind in a different place for it, if it's just an hour or two, has really been helpful. It's something that I needed. I didn't think I needed at first, because I stayed away. I shut down in the first, couple of months, and my coach, he allowed me to have that. And then he told me, he said, look, we need you and you need us. So come back, train, and try to stay focused on, some positive things that are going on in your life. And honestly, I struggled with it, because I felt like anything that took my mind off of her and what I needed to be doing for her wasn't right.
Right.
And I had to come to grips. I had to go to counseling and talk to somebody, and they had to tell me, like, hey, you're actually doing a good thing by doing that. It's nothing wrong with trying to give your mind a respite. So that's what I did, and it's been good. It's been very, very helpful for me and my family, especially my wife. She sees that when I'm in the gym training, how productive and how positive I am. If I sit to myself, it gets crazy. So that's been really, really helpful.
And you have, I don't want to transition off without talking about it, but you guys have created a non-for-profit. Mm-hmm. That's correct, right? Maybe you talk a little bit, those that don't know about it, maybe you can share for that and what you guys are doing.
Yeah, so so my wife came up with the idea of doing a nonprofit for our daughter, and basically it's called A Nod's Heart. And if you know my daughter, she had a heart of a giant, man. Like, she did so much for so many people. She gave to so many people. And in the light of the tragedies, when I really realized the magnitude of her reach, you know, you think that they're just teenagers and they're just, oh, they want to hang out with friends and they, you know, but then you really talk to the parents and like get to understand how she was when she wasn't around me. You know, that's what made me so proud, is to know how she was being, you know, she was consistent and she had a faith that was strong. And, you know, it's all the things that I tried to instill in her and my wife tried to instill in her, they were there. And it's just something special. So the nonprofit is, we want to do, take care of kids who are less privileged is the first thing, because my daughter was a softball player. She was an athlete. So we want to help them with equipment and, you know, whether it be travel fees or, you know, things of that nature. We're also working with EquiSearch, who was the team that came in to help find my daughter. We've developed like family ties with them. They even started a chapter here in Alabama.
Awesome.
So we're working with them to create a search party type of thing to help people search for their children. My wife has been she's been unbelievable. She's actually recovered 3 people since this incident happened with our daughter. She's helped 3 people be found. She's put together and organized searches. So my wife I'm telling you, she's unbelievable. She's doing that. We've got, there's so many extensions to this thing. I'm going to be doing self-defense classes. I'm also going to be teaching safety to women. We're coming up with a device that's going to help protect people and save people, you know, that I believe if my daughter would have had in this situation, she wouldn't have tragically lost her life. We got so many different things that this nonprofit is going to do. And I'm just honored to be able to do it because like I said to you off camera, I want to help save other people. And we live in a time now where sex trafficking is the highest committed crime in America. Children go missing by the thousands. So we want to do something to try to combat that, to protect kids and make a change. You know, if it's a small change, whatever it is, we want to be able to try to help in some type of fashion. So
that's fantastic. That's awesome work. We'll put all the descriptions, so anybody that wants to check it out, they can go click the link, and then we'll get all that word out there. That's awesome that you guys are able to do all those different things under that one umbrella, and I'm excited to see what that evolves to, of just how many people that you guys can touch and help, and that's really fantastic.
Thank you.
Wow. Yeah. So I'm still, you said, you know, found 3 people. That's amazing.
Yeah, man. She is, I mean, she's been on the phone with, so a lot of people saw Anaya's story and they just been reaching out for help, because people don't understand when you're in the situation where you're missing a child, especially a child that's of age. Like Anaya was 19. So the police don't take immediate action right away.
Right.
They think, oh, it's just a teenager and, you know, they ran away and whatever. But there's a period in which you need to be active as a parent and as a unit. You need to be moving in one direction. And it's so chaotic that people don't understand that you may lose track of certain things. And so we're trying to help people organize that part of, you know, the situation, because it's, like I said, it's stressful, man. And I've listened to her on the phone with parents that are missing kids, and their heads are all over the place. And so what we're trying to do is give them a system. We're putting it together, a packet and a system that they can access right away to get to the point where they need to be without having to go straight to the authorities and have them do, you know, you need the authorities' help, of course, but we also want to make sure we're putting families at ease, knowing things are being done, you know, in a timely manner.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're going to get the authorities involved, but you're not just going to want to sit there and do nothing. Right. Yeah. So, and you're not going to be in the right state of mind to be able to organize all your thoughts.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, you know, that is what you and your wife and what your family had to go through. No family should ever have to go through that. And you tried to, well, you did, you came back and you fought, and I gotta imagine you weren't in the right headspace and might still not be ever back in the right headspace. But how are you feeling now from your training? I know we talked about getting back in the gym and starting to really kind of go through those day-to-days, and you're doing 3-a-days now of working out. How are you feeling as a professional from maybe that fight with Alistair to now? Anything different or?
Yeah, it's a ton different. I think the fight with Alistair opened my eyes to, how I train. It gave me that old feeling back. Anytime I've come off a loss, I've always bounced back better than I was when I lost. So I think that I'm in a different headspace totally than I was going into the Alistair Overeem fight. The Overeem fight, there was so much outside pressure. There was it was a Cinderella story, and it was
right.
Just, it was something you want so bad, and then you're in the middle of a pandemic, and training is being broken up, and your gym's moving to a new place. So it was all kind of stuff going on, man. And I'm not making excuses, but that's just the facts. And I wasn't completely where I needed to be. And I still almost won the fight, which showed me a lot. Like, okay, you belong at this level. When
right.
you're on your game, that you're one of the best in the world. So that's what I learned from that. And now going into this fight, I've got almost 3 months to prepare.
Right.
And I know when I'm prepared to the max, I can beat anybody on the planet. That's just how I feel. That's how I've always felt, and I've proven that. So, I think going into this fight, I still got the motivation for my daughter, and all of those things brewing inside of me. And now you add the layer of, okay, I didn't perform well, or I didn't get the W last fight. So this training camp, I'm pushing harder. I'm training harder. My body feels even better. I've made some personal changes. In my personal life, I've switched up how I do things. I'm waking up earlier. I'm eating different. It's just a lot of little things that go into being prime and ready for that night. So I'm there. I'm feeling good, man. I'm excited, man. I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at like your professional career, we kind of talked about that learning curve, that experience. And I kind of feel like towards the end of 2018, you started to get it all, like you were starting to put all the pieces together. I mean, you with splits, and then you started rattling off wins, right? You're on like a 4-win streak, and then tragedy happens, and you have plenty of time to prepare this time. You have the opportunity to get a full camp, more than a full camp in, right? Whether it's nutrition, the physical training, it's not, you're doing three times a day. You're coming in as prepared as possible. This is a big fight for you too. I mean, you got two top 10 or two ranks going against each other. He's in the top 10. I mean, I gotta assume if you beat him, then you're going to be right there in the mix of that discussion.
Mm-hmm.
What's that landscape? I mean, because there's a lot changing right now in the heavyweights. So we have DC, we have Stipe. That if DC wins, that belt might be vacated, and then who really knows what's going to happen?
And I mean, you're a great interviewer, dude. All right, so yeah, dude, that's like, honestly, I was literally just having that conversation with my family yesterday. Like, that's another momentum factor and a motivating factor for this camp. It's like, when I beat Krylov, I thrust myself right in the title, because the belt is either going to be vacant or Stipe is going to have it, and DC's retiring. So now fights are going to just start. You're going to see all the good fights and all the, so I want to be in that conversation. And I think that every day I go into the gym is what my motivating factor is, because I still want to win a title. I still want to be considered one of the best heavyweights in the world. So when I train now, I'm like, all right, let's get it, because I don't like getting left out. I don't like losing, and that's just what it is with me. So I'm like motivated, beyond motivated. Like, and coach has to tell me in practice, like, lighten up, like, because I find myself just in that moment of I'm pushing myself so hard that I'm like, all right, dial it back. You still got 12 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, wait a minute. So it's just it's a good time to be a heavyweight right now. And like I said, I've kind of positioned myself to be in that conversation, and I want to keep moving in that direction. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like we talked about, if DC wins, then the title's vacated. If that happens, then you probably have Lewis versus Blades,
Exactly.
Stipe versus Ngannou, and then, you know, winners got there. You win here, that kind of puts you right into the mix that you could face one of the four, a rematch. Alistair's been up there. There's a lot that can happen, and
Yeah. It's gonna get real interesting, real soon.
yeah, especially, I mean, all of your wins have been knockout. If you come in and you're consistent with all of the way you've performed, you know, you'll have a pretty good ground to stand on to call somebody out.
Yeah, man, and that's what the goal is. I see some fights that I'm itching to get.
Which one do you want to get? So
Man, honestly, and I say it all the time, I'm down to fight anybody, but I think the one I want next is Derek Lewis. I mean,
okay.
The reason I say that is because we got a common opponent. If I, you know, when I speak things into existence. When I beat Krylov Volkov, that makes the most sense to me. He just fought, and I can see him fighting again before I fight because it's kind of far out. He didn't take too much damage, and then Blades and him, you know, I see them probably locking horns, and then that looks really good on my resume. I go in there, get a win over him, and then boom, we're right there at the top. You know,
that would be an exciting fight. You guys would be throwing for
and
sure.
I think that exactly, and I think that's what the fans want. I think they want to see what'll happen between two savages. You know what I mean? So I'm excited about it. We've been in the organization about the same amount of time, and we never crossed paths. So I think it's time for it.
All right, very cool. Well, hey, you got a ton of things coming your way, whether it's the heavyweight division, your non-for-profit, that's some amazing stuff outside. And let's not forget that you're going for city council as well. So maybe one day you're going to be, you know, defending the neighborhood through your nonprofit. You're going to be holding the championship belt and then running the town as well.
That'd be pretty dope, man. If I could have that'd be my little trifecta, you know? I mean, city council kind of came to me relatively out of nowhere. I have a few friends that are running for office, and one of them stopped by the house one day, and he's like, "Hey, man, I'm vacating this seat. Why don't you run for it?" And I was like, "Why me?" He said, "Well, I mean, why not?" He's like, "Think about it. You have a great platform. Everybody loves you in this community, and I think you can help a lot of people." And I was like, "All right, give me a couple of days. Let me think about it." And I thought about it, and it made the most sense to me because what better way to say thank you and I love you to my community than to serve them? You know, I feel like there's a lot of people in my ward that don't get their needs met, you know, and that haven't been really heard. And that's not a knock to him. You know, it's just there's so much other stuff going on, you know. And I told Patrick that. I was like, man, you know, I just think that I could get some things done for these people because they just want to be heard, you know, and I could be the voice that they need and enact some change. You know, because I have friends on the state level as well as the local, and, you know, it just, I feel like I can make some things happen. And I also feel like with the way the world has been in 2020, man, and, you know, just the way, you know, with the Black Lives Matter movement and all these different things going on, we need some diversity in our city council. We need to have, you know, a point of view from the, you know, African-American or people of color perspective. You know, I think that's very important because, you know, if it's always one way, then it just doesn't ever pan out equally for everybody. So I feel like it's no better time than right now to run. And, you know, everybody's jumped behind it, man. It's crazy how as soon as I announced it, everybody's like, oh, you know, like, can we do that? What can we do? You know, like everybody's coming out of the woodwork. So it's been a blessing, man. And, you know, it's just been another thing that I want to do to try to, you know, bring some change and, you know, keep my daughter's legacy alive. And, you know, I know she'd be super proud of me. At first, like, it's the same with fighting. She'd probably be like, "Dad, what are you doing?" And then when she sees it and sees the vision, she's like, "All right, let's do it." You know, so, you know, I was nervous at first. I'm still learning, but I'm excited to tackle it, man, because, it's, you know, just like fighting, I had no experience when I started, but I'm willing to give my all to it and be the best I can be. So it's gonna be fun. And it's good because I'm running against a friend. Like it's weird. Like there's no slander. There's no like it's the friendliest race you're ever gonna see, bro. It's crazy. Like everybody knows everybody. So we're all like going to coffee together, talking about things. There's no like, oh, I'm gonna say this and say that. Like I coached his kids. You know what I mean? So it's like it's crazy. It's just like that's how tight knit Homewood is. We all know each other. We're like he called me the day he found out I was running. He's like, what's up, man? I'm like, what's up? Like our signs are right next to each other all over the community. Like it's crazy. So it's been fun, man. It's something different, and I'm excited about it.